If I hold it still, everything will be fine. This live stream had everything. Let's try that again. This live stream had everything. It had trauma, heartbreak, found family. If you missed my live stream, that's totally fine. I went live at a weird time. Not many people are usually up to absorbing new information around the time that I got home from work and decided to do a live stream. I did this live stream for May the 4th, and I talked about my favorite character that I have made named Sparrow. She's my first Star Wars OC. Now, to add some trigger warnings to this, there is darker themes. There is mentions of trauma, and there is mentions of substance use that can be a little triggering for some people who have gone through any bouts of addiction. Just want to put that warning out there just so you guys know. I really enjoyed editing this, and I hope to do more live streams in the future. This was fun to edit, fun to rewatch. I now know my character a lot better than I did before reading her story. I also want to preface this with saying she's not canon at all. She is just a character I made up. This is like fan fiction, if you can see it better that way. It's just fan fiction. So none of it's canon, none of it's real, but it's real to my world that I've created within the Star Wars universe. It's real, yet it's not real. It's Straudner's canon. It's real to my canon, just not real to Star Wars canon. I hope you guys enjoy. Again, I had so much fun, and I hope to see you guys in future live streams if you want to make it. Alright, let's have some fun. Sparrow, since I'll start a little bit. Sparrow was my first Star Wars OC. She started off in my imagination. So to help me sleep, I tell a story to myself. I'll put myself in situations, and it'll be in like Sherlock or Doctor Who or Star Wars, Marvel. So I would put myself in those worlds, and just that's how I create a lot of OCs. So Sparrow was like the first one. She's the one that started everything. So she has a lot of trauma, because I was like, this bad boy can fit so much trauma in her. Let's go. So I put she's broken but overcomes it all. Kind of like me, not to sound depressing, but I am more broken than people realize. And people don't really get to see that until they get to know me. I'm also going to preface this with saying I'm fine. I am fine. I'm perfectly healthy. I am aware that I'm broken, and it's okay to know that I'm broken. And that's where I kind of put that into Sparrow. Sparrow is broken, but even though she is broken, she still overcomes and is still able to live life. Hello, I'm live on YouTube.
You want to say hi?
I'm live on YouTube to 4 people. This is my mama. I'm watching to make sure it's all Dragon Rising. I love you. Sparrow, regardless of her brokenness, she still overcomes, and she still functions, and she still works through it. She's a survivor. 2WEI or whatever. It keeps doing that, and it's scary. My lightsaber that I got in Disneyland, it hasn't been doing it for the past couple days, but of course now that I'm talking about Star Wars and I'm live, it keeps doing it. Earlier, you didn't see it, but it was like it turned on and turned off again. It's scary. I want to go to Disney World so I can get the new model. Also, I have a package that I'm going to be opening in a couple minutes because I've been here for almost a half an hour, and I kind of just want to start. It's Caleb Widowgas and Essex stuff. I saw that it was a mystery box, and I was like, yes. It's from Ink for Words on Etsy. Give me a second. I need to get a utensil to open this box. Because also, so in my Geek Fest vlog, if anybody saw that, I got Caleb Widowgas art, and I cannot find it for the life of me. So I'm like, great, I just wasted like $18. So first we have beautiful art. My God, look at that. This is not at all Star Wars related, but wow. Oh, there's so much more. There's so many goodies. So much room for activities. I now have Essek art. Oh, look how gorgeous that is. Oh my God, I love Essek so much. You have no idea. Oh, these are gorgeous. Oh, I can't wait to hang these up eventually. I have a Shadow Guest pin now. Oh, that's gorgeous. Look at that. That is beautiful. I love wizards. I love these. These are great. So we're starting off with ages 1 through 9. Not much here. She lives on this planet called, I made up, by the way, I made up the planet. She lives on this planet called Nemo. Spelled like Nemo, and I did that on purpose. So it's like she lived, for the love of God. So it's almost like she lives nowhere, because Nemo in Latin means no one, which kind of gives into her, because she's Sparrow, just Sparrow, no last name. So she's Sparrow no one, Sparrow nobody. She doesn't care where she came from. She doesn't care that she doesn't know who her parents is, because she doesn't need to know that. Her strength comes from her, and she's not held back by the mystery of her past. That's just who she is. There is some level of curiosity of like, I wonder where I came from so I could know like any diseases or anything I need to know about, but beyond that, she doesn't really care where she came from, because they left her on purpose or they died. Like, I haven't fully settled on it. I kind of, for those kinds of things, I kind of wait for me to have a dream as the character, because that's usually where I get a lot of my canon ideas. Anyway, so she lives on a planet that everyone forgot about. It's called Nemo. Again, I made this up. This is not an actual Star Wars planet yet. One can only hope. And its sister planet is called Amor. It's like a frost planet almost. She lived there from ages 1 through 9. At age 10, she was one of the strongest Force users in her little village. They didn't really understand the Force. The Force there, they more called it like magic. There was her and a few others who were also Force sensitive on her planet as well. Her best friend David being one of them. Both sides of the Force could sense her presence, both the Sith and the Jedi. Master Kerr, is Sparrow's master, and he volunteered to jump in and take care of these force powerful people. They sent him, his name is Jace Kerr, to take her and train her, but eventually just took them all and started to train them. So a little something about Kerr is that he was actually a Sith in disguise, but Sparrow didn't know that yet. He hid his dark side presence from the Jedi because of reasons for plot. Nobody really could sense the darkness within him. Sparrow, on the was very excited for an adventure. She's 10. She's a kid. She's like, I get to leave and I get to learn how to harness this power I have. That's so exciting. She very much looked up to Kerr like he was her father. Kerr ignored the rule of 2. Sith has a Padawan. Padawan kills master. He becomes a new master, gets a Padawan, that Padawan kills master, and it's a cycle. He ignored the rule of 2 because he wanted to create an army of Sith, because why not? The Padawans, because they were in such a angry environment, would often fight. They would fight each other, they would fight anyone really. They just had a lot of anger built in them because their master was literally a Sith. Everyone really except for Sparrow. Sparrow did have a few anger issues now and again, but she was able to stay calm through it all, which is very unique to her character. Her and David then became very close. They were like besties. Her very noticeably favored Sparrow over the other Padawan because of her strength and her power in the Force. And I will say, as someone, I see that someone just joined, that now I have 5 years, she was 10 years old. Kerr took her on missions through the years. Over the years through training, he just started to treat her as if she was his own. That's just how it started. He started to have an element of care. We're skipping age 11 because it's the same as age 10. Age 12, she then learns of the Jedi on Coruscant. She learns through a lot of different holograms and holocrons of different fighting styles, as Kerr also took her on many different missions. She had visions. Her visions started to become more prominent. She was not allowed, the Force would not allow her to speak of these visions. Like, she couldn't. She literally, like, anytime she would try, something would happen, or her tongue was literally held in place. These visions terribly scared her because there was a man made of metal. There was the fall of the Jedi, so they frightened her. And then she started to be tempted and seduced by the dark side. At this time, her best friend David has disappeared. On his side of the story, Palpatine had captured him at this point and was training him to become a Sith at his young age. Later, he does come back, but keeps Kerr's secret as he now knows that Kerr is a Sith. And I guess I didn't write it, but around this point, her and David and Sparrow at one point, they have their first kiss. They were each other's first kiss, because I'm a romantic. Sparrow was the favorite. I made that clear. She was the favorite, and the other Padawan hated her for it. And because of this, and this is all she really knew, she assumed that's how every Force user was going to accept her, that they were going to hate and tolerate her. So she just accepted it at that point. Kerr very much visibly treated Sparrow differently than everybody else. He cared for her and taught her more Jedi teachings that he didn't teach others. He taught her more Jedi stuff. He didn't teach anybody else Jedi stuff because he didn't want her to go through the pain of falling to the dark side and having that self-hatred live inside her. He was later punished for this choice of protecting Sparrow. So where they are being trained, Sparrow explores the forest on the planet. She is kind of wandering and is kind of lost, and eventually has a moment where she faces herself, like a darker version of herself, which is very much like what Luke Skywalker went through and what Rey went through, of seeing their darker self and then kind of overcoming it. This fight ends in a draw for her. She doesn't defeat it and it doesn't defeat her. They stand on equal ground. And I put as a little note, the Force was watching. If you need to know what she looks like me. She's on my Instagram if you scroll really far. Because I haven't cosplayed her in a minute. There was a point of time where I cosplayed her every other day, and then I got sick of her. She has more reddish brown hair. I don't know if the live stream can pick it up, but I have gray hairs. I'm 22, by the way. It's just genetics. It's nothing terrible. It's genetics and stress. My hair started going gray when I turned 18. Sparrow has my hair. Her hair is more red because when I first started cosplaying her, I was like continuously dyeing my hair red. Now it's just brown with gray streaks. Whenever I do want to cosplay her again, I will be dyeing my hair red again. But also it's summer and I like to have the red because it complements my skin. Moving on to age 14 of Sparrow's story, Master Kerr then takes her to Coruscant. She moved from training holograms to actually going to Coruscant. She heard of this place and she now gets to go. So she needs to be at Coruscant for a meeting about a certain area of war and the condition of Sparrow's planet. She meets all of the Jedi. She meets Ahsoka Tano and yes. She meets Treadell, which is Shua's OC. Sparrow meets Treadell, which is Shua's my boyfriend. It's his OC, and they spar for a little bit, just training, and she meets his master. She meets Obi-Wan and Anakin and notices the bond they have and notices that this force feeling of their presence is a lot different than from her master. She still loves her master and still views him as a father figure, but just notices that the presence of the force within them is different. Again, I wrote down here that him favoring Sparrow over the other Padawans was his downfall. And as unfortunate as it is that him caring too much was his downfall, that is the case here in this story. She gets to meet the council, the Jedi Council. She sits in on a meeting with other Padawan of Coruscant, and she learns of the conditions of her planet, that it's kind of being run down. She's 14 now, so she hasn't been there for like 4 years and everything's gone downhill. She starts panicking and she starts to have emotions before she is calmed down, and she just starts freaking out. She says, as I wrote here, "We have traditions that we must follow. The war limits our surprise. Our sister planet fell the same fate. I don't want my people to suffer." She then tells of the snake creatures on her dead sister planet, which is, as I said earlier, as Amor. "We do this ritual to help them hopefully mate, but they haven't for a long time. They're our good luck charm in a sense. They are the reason my people exist, why we were brought together. If the council
cannot help, then I will, by myself if I have to. The council does admire her boldness, but they frown upon her lack of control, of her emotional control. Her master essentially, at the council's reaction to him, to her emotional lack of emotional control, he's just like, and says if she wants to go on her own, then let her. She could use the learning experiences. It's just like, she can screw around and find out. The council did not let her go on her own, to Sparrow's relief. Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka agree to go with her and her master. They bring the clones, and Sparrow meets Rex and Cody for the first time. The Sparrow is my way of meeting all of my favorite characters in Star Wars. She is like, everyone can shut up. She is that for me. Like, I'm going to meet every character I love, even if it's canon or not. I don't care. Sparrow learns of the clones and how they came to be, and she then remembers a vision that she had, and then she becomes a little wary. Rex is kind to Sparrow, and Ahsoka is watching from a distance. So she asks Rex, so you all look the same? What makes you all different? At this time, she would be like, so you all look the same? What makes you all different? Because on her planet, I made it that she had a British accent. And then he says, what makes you different from your fellow Padawans? Sparrow laughs and thinks. She knows she's different, but no, she's a different kind of different. She thinks it's what makes other people hate her. Rex removes his helmet and explains to Sparrow how they all are different even though they look the same. Sparrow's heart grows in pain. If you're made for the war, what will happen when it ends? They land. Back when Bad Batch was becoming more of a thing and season 2 came out, I was like, I'm gonna read back on Sparrow's story just cause why not? And then I read that and I was like, did I predict the future or am I just smart? Because it was a question that I always had on my mind, even as like when I started watching Star Wars again. I was like, what? They were made for war. What happens afterwards? Do they just get cast aside? For new viewers, my lightsaber that I got at Disneyland has been going off all day and it turned on and off earlier. By itself. Scary. This sister planet is cold. It kind of went through an ice age because there was no supplies going to the planet. Sorry, I had a thought. Yes, I feel like if the bruh is to me accidentally predicting Bad Batch season 2, I also felt the same when I read that. I was like, what happens to the clones afterwards? Because the clones were made for war. That was it. They don't have a childhood. Omega never had a childhood, even though she literally is a child. Oh, the lightsaber. It's scary! It keeps going off for no reason! But yes, I should write for Dave Filoni, is what we're all learning here because we have similar ideas. One day, that's what I would love to do. I want to be a director and I want to make films. My goal in life is to eventually make a Star Wars film because I think that would be cool. And I would love to work for or with Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. I'm sorry if I'm saying their names wrong. I always say their names wrong. But because I really look up to them. When I saw them at Star Wars Celebration, I started crying because I saw that they were real. The selfie that I took of me explaining who Sparrow was on my story, there are tears in my eyes because that was the moment I saw my heroes up on stage. The sister planet is cold. There is a Jedi temple on the planet. For some reason, if I make Sparrow's story, yeah, I could. I was thinking in the car, if I had better equipment and like not an iPhone to record things, I could totally do something for Sparrow. I really want to. I would love to do like a Sparrow story. I'm gonna put a pin in that. We're saving that for later because that would be a great idea. There's a Jedi temple on this sister planet because why not? Because that's how it always was in my imagination. There are two, apparently. There is one entrance and then there's another entrance. So Anakin goes to the other one. Count Dooku's here for some reason. He's there. Aw, Raid! I forgot about Raid! Sorry. So, Count Dooku's here because Kerr needs answers for Sparrow's visions. Count Dooku's best friend had similar visions. I don't know if they're best friends, but I'm saying they're best friends because that's essentially what they were. And he wants to know why specifically he's having them. I think Raid came with Dooku. Raid is Sparrow's Mandalorian boyfriend, who wasn't that great because he kind of does some So there is a moment, I remember writing this, I think I wrote it down, but like he puts on the pretending thing of like, I don't believe in the force, it's not real. And she's like, yes it is. She's 14, mind you. So she's like, yes it is. And there's a moment where like he forces her to use the force and then he steals a kiss from her. Kerr then walks in as this kiss happens and he's like, I'm gonna pretend that I didn't see that. He's very much has somewhat of the vibes of the cop on Stranger Things. I forget his name. Harper Hoover. What's his name? He's my uncle's favorite character. What's his name? Hopper. Thank you. Oh my god. I am so sorry. But yes, that is the kind of the vibes somewhat. Not entirely, but somewhat. It's the same protectiveness and care. In this moment, Kerr was talking to Dooku for more answers on the Vision's problem. I don't remember the ending to what happens with the snakes because I didn't write it down. They save the day. Sparrow gets to stay on Coruscant now while her master travels. She bonds with the other masters and Padawans, gets proper Jedi training, she goes on missions. She lives happier on Coruscant and she feels loved and wants to stay. Age 15, Sparrow has to leave Coruscant. Her master said to. There is a visible difference in Kerr now. It's been a year. He has been tortured and beaten and he seems more dark than before. The Jedi simply think that he's just been through a rough mission because he's really good at hiding himself. Sparrow, on the other hand, I gave her kind of like my empathetic feelings of being an empath. She feels like now being around him, she has to walk on eggshells. She's being incredibly careful now about what she says and what she does. She needs to go on a mission with Obi-Wan and Anakin. Her fights for her not to go. In the meeting, Sparrow speaks up for herself and wins the favor of the council. I know I'm young and I have not completed my training, but I want to help on this mission. I feel that with the help of Anakin and Obi-Wan, I'll be able to provide good. There we go. YouTube crashed for no reason. It like right when I say I understand where my master is coming from, it. Is the internet just bad? Or is my phone just bad? A little lag there for a bit, but we're all good now. It crashed on me again, but we're all good. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Loud noises are my gerbils. I'm sorry. It's fully Little Mister. He is a true menace. I don't know why it crashed. For no reason. Maybe my phone got too hot. I don't know. I will be able to provide good intel and efficiency on the mission. I understand where my master is coming from, but I have grown much stronger in Coruscant than I have in the training temple. She then senses something very cold from her master, like a cold feeling. The council let her go. In this mission, actually there's TikToks about it on my TikTok. I made a little thing because I was really inspired to do stuff for it, so I made a little mini series. She then faces Count.
Mother, I'm coming home. No, 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 no.
He then faces Count Dooku, and the presence of the dark side feels. Yeah, I'm stopped talking because of you, you gerbil, little punk. The presence that she feels is the same as her master's presence. Ooh, snap! he's on the dark side. She breaks for a moment. Her and Dooku have a fight, and the darkness takes Sparrow over for a moment, but Sparrow then catches herself and she starts crying. Dooku then threatens to kill her as like an act of mercy in his mind. Obi-Wan and Anakin are watching with the saber ready to cut off her head. She says, she says, just end me. They all freeze. Dooku now knows that she knows and consoles her in a way. He knows that she knows that that Kerr is a Sith Lord. Alright. I'm not crazy! I'm not crazy! It happened on this live stream too! It turned on and off! This is scary! That was Sparrow going, yes, queen! Yes, queen! That was my lightsaber! It's not even like, oh, it's like an ultra saber. No, it is the one from Disneyland that has a little switch you have to push forward for it to turn on. So I just adjusted in my seat and it went off. It's Sparrow, you guys. She's here. The Force is with me. I am one with the Force. This is ridiculous. Yeah, no, that's scary. That was if there's a ghost in my room, hello. I don't really want a ghost in my room, but I guess you're here now. Thank you for applying snaps to what I just said. After that, Dooku consoles her. You saw how scared I got. After Dooku consoles her in a way, Anakin and Obi-Wan come forward. Sparrow explains that she feels her master is a Sith in disguise. Dooku frowns but confirms and asks how she found out, and she says that the Force presence was the same. Yes, the room ghost is now named Sparrow. They go back to wherever they came from with a plan. Sparrow goes to her master. That's so scary. Sparrow? Oh my god. I hope it's like a Casper the Friendly Ghost. Okay, so they go back with the plan. Sparrow goes to her master and confronts him. In the TikTok video, it's like, Master, I have something to ask you. And he's like, yeah. And she senses the presence is the same. And I'm really proud of my acting in this. I'm not the best actress, but with TikToks, I tend to have a better grasp for some reason. I think it's because it's the music and I'm saying certain lines like how I picture it. She asks him, are you a Sith? And he says, oh, my dear, I wish you didn't have to find out this way. And Force pushes her against the wall. Force chokes her, grabs his lightsaber, and threatens her with it. She begs him not to kill her. And I literally wrote, Father Kerr comes back. It really is Sparrow. Like, I didn't realize I manifested a real character. This is spooky. Father Kerr comes back and decides not to kill her, but the council takes him away, and this breaks Sparrow, because regardless of him now, like, attacking her, he was her father, and it just... and it just breaks her. Later on, Sparrow speaks to him in their planet's native tongue that nobody really knows anymore. She set up a ship for him to run off and survive. She still feels anger and hate and pain for him, but she didn't want him to die. He thanks her, and I think in this, I didn't write it, but I think that he went in for a hug or something, or just like a little, like, I don't know, affection. And she pushes him away and runs from him. Sparrow then goes to check on the Padawans at the temple a few days later at the original temple that she grew up with. I'm sorry. I know it's a heartbreaking scene. That's really scary. I'm gonna have to move my saber to another room. She's like, this is the sad part of my backstory. She goes back to the original planet that she was taken to train, and she sees the Padawans. And the Padawans very quickly turn against Sparrow and attack her over jealousy. It then says that she was captured by General Grievous. I think that they had a fight and she was on the ground, and then she gets captured by Grievous. He captures her to learn where Kurt is, and she doesn't answer him. Because truly, let's be honest, she don't know. She don't know where he went. Just said, go, leave. She gets tortured, basically. By electricity, and now I don't know how this would work with human bodies, but she now has a tolerance for pain. She has a tolerance for pain, that's normal, but now she also has a tolerance for electricity. Like how the Sparrow ghost is using electricity waves to make my lightsaber go off. Alright, I thought it was gonna do it then. She then meets Sidious, but doesn't see his face. Sidious, for casual fans, is Palpatine. I don't know where Kurt is, but he's no longer my master. How would I know? You gave him an escape route. It was up to him where he went. Thank you. I was a little delayed, but thank you. I appreciate it. She got herself out, but the clones came and got her off the planet, because that shows how Sparrow can usually and is used to getting herself out of situations. She isn't a damsel in distress usually. She is the one who saves herself because she's always had to save herself. She's a very strong woman who can do anything she puts her mind to. At least how I wish to be. I wish to be a person who can do anything that I can put my mind to. I'm noticing now that I am much more of a strong individual than I thought I was. Ahsoka fights droids as Sparrow is carried by Rex. Anakin tries to keep Sparrow awake. She says they're looking for Master Kerr, and then she passes out. Oh, already? Oh no, I didn't know this was happening so soon. Sparrow's planet is then destroyed. Her home planet Nemo, where she grew up on and was taken from, for those who joined later on, she was the strongest kid in her village. She has been on a couple missions to her planet to keep the traditions alive and to save her people. And now this planet is being destroyed. She's at the temple where she senses it, the danger. She's walking down a hall and she falls to her knees. She senses I'm sorry. The timing is really scary. She senses the pain and suffering of her people, so much death and pain. She felt the need that she needed to prove herself. She was a Jedi and she had to protect her people. If she didn't, then she was nothing. This is very much where something she put it on her shoulders. You literally did predict it a second before. I was thinking as soon as I came upon it, I was like, I wonder if it's gonna do the thing again. She lands on the planet and faces the droids, taking down her people and her village. She tries to fight them, but she becomes overwhelmed and cannot fight anymore. She was supposed to die that night, but the Force wouldn't let her. She wakes up, and seeing that she's the last resident of her home planet, she cries out and breaks. This is a really big moment for Sparrow, because she is the last of her people. Nemo is gone. Physically it's still there and later is labeled as a star because that attack wasn't supposed to happen, and Sidious was mad that it happened, so he just... It's like, it's labeled as a star now. You guys messed up. That wasn't part of my plan. I guess now she's punished for not telling me where her master is. But she lost a part of herself that day. She couldn't prove that she was as strong as the Jedi. She carries this with her for the rest of her life, that she is the last of her people. I also did a TikTok series of this ages ago, where I did kind of like a really like and kind of where this is also where she gets her, it's on this side, her scar. She has a scar that runs from here all the way down to her collarbone, almost to like her bosom. It is healed, but she is just, it's such a breaking moment for Sparrow that she lost everything. I was really expecting you to go off there, but she...
Panic
come for you, come for you. Welcome to the panic room. You know I wasn't.
To go off there, but she lost everything and she knows she was supposed to die that night. Like, she carries that with her that she was supposed to die that night and then she didn't. Age 16, she's struggling with the dark side but is still willing to be a Jedi. She trained with multiple Jedi and went on missions where she felt she was needed. She's more angsty at this point. If given advice or instruction, she stays quiet. She shuts down. She disrespects Palpatine in private. She can feel the darkness within him, but stays silent. She knows no one would believe her, and that's not how the Force told her how things would go. She literally can't say anything. She knows, she's like, I know who you are, but I can't say anything. She can't change this future. It was already set in motion. Palpatine starts a plan to punish and break Sparrow for good. Sparrow then learns of Darth Maul. She isn't afraid of him, but she thought he was interesting. Sparrow meets Darth Maul, cause I need to meet all of my favorite characters. A solo mission for the Council to learn of a disturbance. Darth Maul corners her and holds the saber at her throat. He looks angry, she looks calm. He becomes interested in this. Sparrow pushes him off and continues the mission as if he wasn't there. Nearby village was under attack by an overrun species now controlled by the Empire. By the vampires, guys. The Empire is vampires. She agrees to help the village. Maul had followed her and waits for her in the Sparrow home, where village. Where Sparrow would say her name's Village now. I'm sorry, your name's Sparrow. He asks her questions and tries to learn more about her, but Sparrow doesn't tell him anything. I wish to learn more about you, young one. One so bold and calm in the face of danger, not like many Padawans I've seen. Villager walks in and apologizes, assuming they know each other, diffuses the tension. So essentially, he's like hiding in there, and Sparrow's like, oh hey, and then they're talking, and a villager's like, oh, I'm gonna go this way. Sparrow sits down and Maul sits across from her. She's never been really too scared of a lot of Sith. She just kind of sees them as pained people. My name is Sparrow. Just Sparrow? Just Sparrow. Tell me about yourself, Just Sparrow. She tells him snippets of her master and her life with him. She tells him she's training still, and she tells him her saber isn't her own. He sits and listens with respect. All this happening to you, I cannot help but wonder, how have you not fallen to the dark side? Who's to say that darkness doesn't already live within me? I sense you could, but I didn't sense the dark side. Just confusion, pain, severe loneliness. You are breaking, young Sparrow. I can't help if I'm breaking. I don't know how to control my emotions anymore. Your master, if I recall correctly, was an expert at shielding himself from emotions and people sensing him. You don't get to mention him. Why is that, young Sparrow? Because I myself am a Sith? Exactly. That hardly gives you reason. Puts hand on her shoulder. I only knew of your master. I did not know him personally. I'm not concerned with him. I'm more interested in you. How can a smart Padawan as yourself become attached to such a man? I'm sure a smart Sith like yourself could figure that out. They are interrupted by the village being attacked. I don't know how canon this is, but I like that conversation. Now is the time for a lesson in emotions, young Sparrow. Extends a hand. How you can use them to your advantage. They fight the creatures together. Sparrow fights with emotion, letting out all anger and frustration on the creatures. The dark side takes hold for a moment. Maul, getting scared, pulls her out of it, knowing that she would be too powerful and dangerous. Secretly doesn't want the corruption to take her when she is so young. What? Raid and Sparrow reunite? And why do I only have one thing written? Mission in saving children in slavery. Now we're at age 17. I don't know what the jump is from 16 to 17 to where she leaves, but eventually she's like, I can't be a Jedi, I'm gonna leave. And she does. She leaves Coruscant and she's like, I can't be a Jedi, I failed at being a Jedi, I can't do this. So she joins Spice Runners and she gets addicted. I wrote smuggler life. She becomes a smuggler. She stole weapons for some times and she lived on her own for some time. She also became a bounty hunter. She also became a bounty hunter. I guess I looked up a bounty hunting house paramixor, specializing in hunting murderers. Just starting out, small bounties, doesn't mind ending people, only takes bounties of bad people because there's that little bit of goodness still in her. One last mission, Anakin and Obi-Wan. She's the only one with information, David. She's the only one that knows where he is, knows how he is. So she goes to Coruscant and she barges into the meeting and they're like, what the heck are you doing here? She's like, I have info I have info that you all don't. Here it is. Goodbye and good luck. They ask how she got the info. She doesn't want to go on the mission. They make her go and she agrees to go. That's how that works. Because, you don't want to see your best friend turn to the dark side. Obi-Wan and Anakin both see the change in Sparrow and they try their best to bring back the good in her. Seeing David again broke her a bit and... Sparrow, I'm sorry. I had to talk about this part. It's in your backstory. I just like the name David. A lot of my romantic interest PCs in a lot of stories I write are just names that I really like. Like a lot of them are James or Benjamin and stuff. Seeing David again broke her for a bit and brought back the pain of her master. And to see someone you love so deeply go down a path you literally can't follow, it hurts. In the story, they kind of save each other despite being on opposite sides. He later on accepts that he's on the dark side and that he can't really change that because he doesn't know how, but he still protects Sparrow. If he has a mission where he has to go after her, he always makes sure that she escapes somehow. David was controlling and enslaving a small town. Sparrow was the only one who faces him. Anakin and Obi-Wan watch her try to convince him to come back to the light. She fails and breaks, blames herself. David runs away. The planet is free. Sparrow watches them. Anakin and Obi-Wan try to console Sparrow, but she pushes them away because that's all she knows how to do. Sparrow, I think Anakin says this. Sparrow, if you wanted to come back to the council, we would welcome you with open arms. Next is Order 66. So I don't know if you want to go off or not. So Order 66 happens. She is not on Coruscant. She is actually somewhere high, incredibly high, on death sticks and spice. It is a very sensitive part for some people, I can understand, because it's not nice things. This is what I mean by she's gone down a dark path. It's not just the dark side, it's just the human dark path that she went down on. Because she's in so much pain and she doesn't know how to deal with it, that she has to do something that destroys her body in order to feel something. Despite this, she senses the deaths and the darkness rising. She knows not that Anakin turns to Darth Vader, but only that Anakin is in trouble. She tries to contact her friends, clones, masters, nothing. She fears they're all dead, and majority of them are. A day of pointless travel in space, she gets the signal of Palpatine's speech, senses the fear in the galaxy, senses the darkness. The Force reveals her vision was true. She had visions since she was a kid of a impending darkness, and she couldn't really talk about them, and the only one who really noticed this was Kerr, and that's why he wanted to talk to Count Dooku. Wait. I know this isn't technically the scene, but do it. She doesn't know who Darth Vader is, but she only knows him as a man made of armor, or a man made of machine. She senses Master Kerr is in danger. She goes into hyperspace to where he is, and through painstakingly hours before she could even land, she jumps out of hyperspace. She senses his death. She couldn't even land on the planet, and he died. Anger rises and takes over. She sees the clones over her master's body, and she takes his saber, now white, but she doesn't notice because he became a Jedi for Sparrow, but she does not notice, at all. She takes his saber, it's now white, but she doesn't notice, and she slaughters the clones in anger. She then afterwards breaks down, shuts out the Force, gives her master a Jedi funeral, and buries him with his saber and buries the clones with proper burials. She then falls down the path even darker and becomes a bounty hunter properly, but she does fall down more of a darker path and becomes a proper bounty hunter. From 18 to 21, she joins a spice gang. She is the most important member because she has heightened sensors, and I put like Hunter apparently because literally I was writing this right around season 1 came out. She's able to sense when they're about to be attacked because of the Force. Despite her shutting it out, there's still moments of it being like, hey. She is in a very toxic environment and she was being used for profit, but she didn't care because she needed the money and she just didn't care. Reckless missions, assassinations, risky jobs, self-destruction, Force kept her alive for some reason. Age 20, Diana finds her in an alleyway. Diana is one of my favorite PCs in her story. Saves her from nearly dying. Diana has a boyfriend, a Zabrak man, very handsome and strong. They both take care of Sparrow like they're her own. Like she's her own, sorry. I don't know how to speak. Teaches her how to be a nurse and heals others. Sparrow bounces back and forth from being healed, like how addicts do. They have a hard time, like, healing from all that. Sparrow, at some point, runs away from Diana and rejoins the Spice Runners. Diana let her go in this moment, but knew she would be back. Age 21. She becomes a singer at Nal Hutta. Nal Hutta is the planet of the Hutts, of like Jabba the Hutt. She's a beautiful singer. She sang for the Hutts, sang for bounty hunters, sang for everyone. She went by Gem with the Spice Runners, but it is a code name. At age 22, she reconnects with the Force on Nal Hutta. She takes down her gang, which I did do a video on this one too on TikTok because I thought it was cool. It's not as cool on TikTok because you gotta use your imagination, but they try to take her down. She was valuable to them to be used. She frees all the slaves from the Hutts. She saves all the Blulas and Ulas. There is a moment where they're like, get the Jedi! And she's like, oh honey, I'm no Jedi. And it's awesome. She runs away and she runs away and steals a ship, and she goes to Tatooine where her ship is. Her ship is missing. It is on Braca. Sparrow built her own ship. So I didn't want to choose a model. I wanted to make my own, because screw having to choose a model and then making it unique. I want to have a full unique ship. I'm thinking of the aerodynamics of it, and I don't think it works that well, but essentially it's like 3 balls. And it is connected by a hallway, but now I'm trying to think of it in a way that makes sense. Because she built it from scrap by herself at some point. I think she must have did that when she was 16. She's a pilot too. And she loves droids. She rebuilt her own droid, who is R2-M3. Her ship is missing. It's on Braca. Vader's there. She senses the presence but cannot plate where it is. She reboots R2-M3. She meets up with Obi-Wan. What is happening? Meets 5-year-old Luke. What is happening? Oh, I know what happened. She goes to find her ship on Tatooine. Whoever had her ship is like, sorry, I sold it. It's on Braca. And R2-M3 is still on Tatooine. Gets directions to Braca, gets ship, gets Shab there, meditates on her own ship, was kept there by the same person she gave it to. What? In her meditation, she meets the Force Ghost of Kerr, which is very sudden, because I thought you died. It's very heartbreaking and a pure scene, because she thought that he died a Sith, but he died a Jedi. I'm sure she probably sensed Vader's presence, and then the feeling left. She makes her way to Ilum, which is where you can get your Kyber crystals. She battles the light and dark inside of her, and she balances the two within her. And she becomes a guardian of a sense. She tries to build her saber, but struggles, so she leaves, and I guess she goes back to Braca, and she starts working there. So I guess she got a job at Braca. Tries to build saber, but fails again. Vader is behind her. I sense a struggle, young Padawan, which is such a dad thing of Messing up there, buddy? She jumps and fear takes over. The man of armor. Vader tries to speak, but she runs. There is a chase and a mini fight. You are strong with the Force, young one. Join us, and you will put your strength to great use. I'm not that young. Vader steps closer. Not anymore. Pushes and runs away. Runs for a very long time. Running, out of breath. I know you, Sparrow shouts. Why do I know you? Vader stops walking, extends a hand to her. A feeling changes. Sparrow feels it. The shift, the change. It's Anakin. No. She whispers. No, that's impossible. Vader continues to extend his hand. Standoff in the rain. A moment of soft music and peace. Sparrow contemplates taking his hand. The mantis arrives. Jump! Cal Kestis says. Sparrow, thinking for a moment, jumps. Vader catches her at the same time as Cal. Sparrow turns off a button and he drops her. I guess she uses the Force to be like, no, boop. Cal brings her to safety. Sparrow cries at the loss of Anakin. Still a smuggler, transitioning from smuggler to guardian. She is reunited with Triddle. Accidentally punches him in the face in a bar fight. And she knows that, he already cares for her regardless, but, she's just like, I need to get my ish together and take care of myself. She did a last few jobs and still takes a few in her later years. Meets up with Diana. Diana and boyfriend are engaged. Sparrow works more as a nurse again. She can sense the heartbeats of everyone and what illnesses they have. A great healer with medicine. She makes sure families have a proper and good funerals. She threatens the people to give families their proper funerals. She's like, you better give them their funerals or else. Relates to Marin about losing family and planet. We learn to survive and adapt, Sparrow says, which is a similar line to Marin because she's like, survivors, we adapt. I love Marin. Hello? Do you want to come say hi to my live stream?
Who's in your live? Well, I didn't hear you talking, so I wasn't sure it was a live stream.
It is. So my lightsaber, funny enough, has been going off like crazy, like turning on and off every time I mention a heartbreaking part in Sparrow's story. So I have a ghost and her name's Sparrow.
So what's this?
I'm watching it to make sure everything runs smoothly.
Wait, is this?
No, I'm live right here, but I'm watching.
I'm like, why is it so delayed? I'm sorry.
You're good. You're good. I love you.
I love you too. Who's in there watching?
Right now it's Emily, Shua, and a person I don't know. Oh, hey, and Squishy's here.
Oh, look at that.
Because I didn't finish her story because it's a lot and I'm still trying to put things into canon. And I think at this point I was just like, I'm just gonna write a script because it's just fun. But yeah, if there's any questions, I will be happy to answer them. I really love Sparrow. She's one of my favorite characters. She's just the characters that I made. I brought her to Star Wars Celebration, and it was just nice to be as her and just be cool. But yeah, that's Sparrow's story, or at least what I have written right now. I love Sparrow so much. She's just one of my favorite characters. I don't know if I've ever gotten fan art of her. I've gotten fan art of other characters that I've cosplayed. I've always thought it would be cool to have hers as Clone Wars art. I would just, one day. I love her so much. She's one of my strongest characters. It's almost as if I made my own comfort character. I actually learned recently that Luke Skywalker is my comfort character because first off, when I rewatched A New Hope recently, I realized I have a crush on Luke Skywalker. I don't know why, I just do. But I also realized the heart swelling and the feeling of peace when I see him. I was like, this is the definition of a comfort character. This is what this means. And I guess I kind of did that for myself in Sparrow too, because she's just really cool and I love her a lot. With other characters it was kind of like imaginary friend for me, because for me, I pretended that I had an imaginary friend. While everyone was I guess convinced that they could see her. So I just kind of was like, yeah, I really like this character. I guess they're my comfort character. I didn't really understand the definition until I thought about Luke Skywalker. Yeah, I'm really glad that you guys like Sparrow. This is the validation I needed. I'm really tired and it's 9:30 and I need to go to bed. So I'm really glad that you guys enjoyed. I'm gonna go to bed. Hopefully Sparrow will not haunt me as much anymore. I'm really glad that you guys enjoyed. I'm gonna go to sleep soon. I'm gonna be going to bed. You guys are really amazing for joining. Thank you guys so much for joining, and I hope that I can do more live streams in the future. I love you guys very, very much. And remember, I'll see you in the next one, Tiger Lilies. And remember, have courage and stay safe. See ya. Now, how do I end this? Do I just press this? It's all done.
And it felt great to be a liar.
I will never be good enough for you. No matter how hard I try.